The creature attacked Jinwoo with its spear, but missed. Jinwoo had suddenly disappeared. The mage let out a loud screech. The guard turned to the mage and started screeching. The guard showed its sharp teeth and moved closer to the mage, but the mage stood firm. Right then, a loud thud echoed as a hole burst open in the guard's chest. The frightened mage, who was now covered in blood, quickly moved away. Scree. Whoosh. When Jinwoo stopped being invisible, a spear suddenly appeared in the guard's chest. He was the one holding it. Jinwoo let go, and the lizardman fell to the ground with a loud thud. As this happened, Jinwoo quickly pulled Kasaka's venom fang from the other guard's forehead. The mage's hands glowed with red flames, but Jinwoo didn't give him time to do anything. With a fast dash, Jinwoo closed the gap between himself and the mage in an instant. The mage's eyes widened in surprise. The creature's eyes looked even slimier when Jinwoo got closer. Suddenly flames shot out. Foosh! Jinwoo dodged them, slipped behind the mage, and stabbed his dagger into its spine. Fatal strike! The mage let out a loud shriek. Screechy! Jinwoo stabbed again, and this time the scream was weaker. Shooshgri! Gawk! The mage coughed up blood before falling to the ground with a thud. Whomp! Jinwoo felt proud of his victory. That was a fair and quick battle. Yes. The system beeped like it was cheering for his win. Beep. You have leveled up. A strange message came after that one. The required level. Jinwoo had no idea what that meant, but when the beep sounded again, his heart raced so fast, it felt like it might stop. He tried to catch his breath. Beep. A job change quest has arrived. Would you like to accept the job change quest? Jinwoo had been so focused on leveling up and boosting his stats, that he'd forgotten about one line in his stat screen. Name Jinwoo Sun level 40 job. None. The third part of his stat screen showed his job. Changing my job means he finally had the chance to change it from nothing to something. He was going to get a job. In most video games, characters benefit a lot from changing their job, so it made sense that this system would work the same way. Dump. His heartbeats were pounding. After realizing he was one step closer to his ultimate goal, he just couldn't calm down. Would you like to accept the job change quest? And the choices kept flashing before his eyes. Of course what kind of idiot would waste an opportunity like this? Jinwoo was very excited about the chance to change his job class. But something made him pause. He had no idea what kind of quest he might get. Both his instincts and his common sense were telling him this could be dangerous. After all, he was inside a dungeon. Dungeons were known as the most unsafe places in the world. Even with a lot of experience in C-rank dungeons, there was no need to look for trouble. Besides, Jinyo was here too. Jinwoo trusted Jinyo, but there was no reason to tell him about the system, or explain the strange things that might happen when he changed jobs. Things could get really confusing. Depending on the quest, Jinyo could be in danger. What if a monster appeared out of thin air? That would actually be better. He knew how to handle monsters, but the quest might be even more challenging. He thought about the two urgent quests that came to mind. One might ask him to take care of a nearby hunter. That was just an example, but it was still just an idea for now. Jinyo appeared in that instant. Boss. He looked like he had been hit by one of the fireballs and was covered in soot. How did you disappear and then come back during the fight? Have you always been able to do that? Jinyo's face was red, and his eyes were shining with excitement. He seemed really interested in the stealth skill. I think his current state is much more interesting though. Jinwoo pulled out a handkerchief from his inventory. Instead of answering, it had been a reward from a quest a couple of days ago. Toss! What are you doing? The white cloth was now completely black. Jinho took the handkerchief. Jinwoo handed him, and realized he was sweating. He felt embarrassed, and quietly wiped his face. Jinwoo said. Yes, boss. Jinho replied. I just remembered something I need to do. Jinwoo explained. Jinho turned around quickly. Does that mean you have to leave? Yeah. Once I'm done here, Jinwoo answered. Understood. Then he will cancel the reservations for the other gates. Jinho didn't want to show it in front of Jinwoo, but he felt bad about canceling them. He was running low on money. He was using his own savings to pay for all of this, and didn't have any other work that paid him. He could not borrow as much money because he was hiding everything from his father. The group's rules said he couldn't get his money back if he cancelled. This made him feel terrible because it felt like wasting a lot of money. Things got even tougher for Jinhyo, as he spent way more than planned due to their unusual method of handling challenges. That was more money lost. His shoulders dropped as he felt hopeless. But Jinwoo calmly said, "Why cancel and waste money?" Jinhyo looked surprised. If we don't enter the gate within 2 days after booking, the permit will be taken away anyway, boss." Jinwoo already knew this. "Leave it to me," he said. Did Jinwoo have a plan ready? Jinhyo had no idea what was going on, but felt like he could trust him. Meanwhile at the White Tiger Guild headquarters, Manager Ann, "What were you thinking?" A loud booming voice came from the offices of the second administration team. The voice belonged to Yoon Ho-baek, the guild master and CEO of the White Tiger Guild. It was never a good thing when the big boss himself came down from his office on the top floor to scold someone. "Why aren't there any training areas set up for our new employees? Do you know we're already 3 days behind schedule?" All the other workers kept their heads down, worried they'd be next to get in trouble. Manager An kept his eyes on the floor as President Baek shouted angrily. Sangmin was experienced enough to know not to respond, and make things worse like Kachul sometimes did. It was best to stay quiet in situations like this. President Baek didn't care what others thought. He waved the report he had received that morning from the second administration team. "You call this an excuse?" he asked. "You let another group outbid us. Couldn't we afford it? Does our organization not have enough money? What are they, some rich kid's hobby?" It was hard not to answer that question, but Sangmin stayed quiet. He had promised Jinwoo after all. "If I say anything now, I'll have to tell about those too." The president didn't notice Sangmin's struggle, and kept yelling loudly, shaking the whole room. "I don't care if it costs 1 or 200 million won, do whatever it takes and book that entrance." "Understood." Right then Sangmin's phone rang. "I'm really sorry I missed your call earlier." Sangmin was with a friend, so he felt really shy. He quickly looked at the caller ID, and his eyes got big. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll be right back." The second administration team mostly handled hiring people. They had to make sure they did things at the right time. Sangmin was the manager. Baek was still angry, but he knew it wasn't smart to stop Sangmin from answering his calls. "Well, answer it," Baek said. Sangmin quickly nodded and left to take the call. "Hello, this is Sangmin from the White Tiger Guild." Baek crossed his arms and waited for the conversation to end. "Sure, got it. If you wait for us at the cafe on the first floor, we'll be right there." "Great, we'll see you then." Sangmin hung up and said quickly, "Sir, I have to head out for a while." This was Sangmin An, the best member of the second administration team. If this was something where he would rush out in the middle of a tense situation after just one phone call, Baek's face relaxed a bit. "Is this about a new team member?" "Yes, sir." Looking at the confidence on Sangmin's face, Baek thought something important must be happening. Is manager and personally going to find this new recruit? That would mean this person is really special. Baek's face, which had been wrinkled, suddenly turned into a happy smile. "It's up to you, our expert. Don't worry about things here and go ahead." Sangmin bowed again and said quickly, "Assistant Manager Hyun, bring the contract and seal." "Yes, sir." The two left right away. Once they had left, Baek, quietly, asked a male staffer, "What's going on? Why is manager and being so proactive?" The male employee glanced hopefully at his female coworker beside him, but she just shook her head. Her eyes showed she had no idea either. He hesitated before saying, "The truth is, sir, I'm not really sure." He thought the president would get angry right away, but instead he stayed quiet. Baek scratched his chin, thinking about what was going on. Manager and was known for helping White Tiger become successful on his own. Now he was paying close attention to what this potential recruit had to say. Was he about to find another great success? President Baek smiled. Jinwoo frowned at the bitter taste of his coffee. He had ordered espresso thinking it would taste like instant coffee, but it was more like bitter tea. It cost way too much for something that tasted so bad. 6,000 won could have bought him several canned coffees. He was trying to figure out how many sugars he needed to add to make it taste like canned coffee. When, dang-a-ling, the cafe door opened and Sangmin and Kachul walked in. "Over here." Jinwoo waved his hand. Sangmin and Kachul's faces lit up when they saw Jinwoo, like kids who had just seen Santa Claus. "I didn't expect to see you again so soon," Sangmin said as he sat down across from Jinwoo. Kachul took the seat next to him. They exchanged nods with Jinwoo. Sangmin wanted to act quickly, so he grabbed the contract as soon as he sat down. First, let's talk about the details. He was clearly very excited about getting Jinwoo to sign with them. But Jinwoo said no right away. I'm not here for the contract. Sangmin's hand stopped halfway. Kachul looked just as surprised. The manager asked slowly, what brings you here then? He was very disappointed, because even though the amazing rookie had come on his own, he refused to sign the contract as soon as he saw it. Did he change his mind so quickly? Sangmin tried to understand what was happening. Jinwoo replied calmly. I'm here because I want to help you. Excuse me, pardon. Sangmin and Kachul reacted the same way. They looked at each other in surprise. Jinwoo continued calmly. You said your squad has been getting all the C-rank gates, which made training new recruits difficult. That's correct. We cannot take new team members to harder dungeons because it's tough for us to get the lower ranked ones they need. That's why I'm here. Sangmin tilted his head and said, I don't understand. What do you mean? Jinwoo stopped hesitating and explained directly. We want to sell you 3 passes for lower ranked dungeons. Kachul nodded, showing he understood. The 2 White Tiger employees finally realized Jinwoo's plan. After Jinwoo put the contract away, Sangmin said, if you really want to help us, wouldn't it be better to stop booking C-rank dungeons? Jinwoo shook his head. We have our own reasons for needing them. Sangmin asked. Then what about today? Jinwoo smiled nicely. I wanted to help you with your problem, of course. Could they trust those words? Before Sangmin could start thinking through everything, Jinwoo continued. This offer is only good for today. We also can't wait any longer to start our raids. If you miss this chance, you won't get another for a while. It was like watching someone on TV trying to sell a product that's almost sold out. Sangmin wasn't sure what to do. Seoul isn't the only city with gates. They could take their group somewhere else if they had to. Setting up a new group without approval could cause problems with existing guilds or squads in the area. This might also lead larger guilds, like the Fame Guild in Hanam, or the Knights Guild in Yeongnam, to think less of them. The White Tiger Guild might start looking like they're not good at training their new members even in their own area. We couldn't even argue against it, because that's just how it was. If other important groups thought they were a joke, why would any new member want to join them? Sangmin thought it over carefully before making up his mind. Okay, he said, we need those permits. 3 would be perfect for what we want. How much do you want for them? The White Tiger Guild had enough money, but they didn't want to try to outspend Eugen Construction since that wouldn't make sense. Sangmin also wanted to keep being on good terms with Jinwoo because Jinwoo was letting him have the gates. He wasn't as happy about the cost though. Each gate cost 300 million won, so all 3 would be 900 million won. Jinwoo said. Sangmin and Kachul were shocked. Wow, that's a lot of money. Kachul started to say, but Sangmin quickly stopped him. Something like this had happened before when they met. When they couldn't agree on the price, Jinwoo ended the conversation without thinking twice. They were back to where they started. If he didn't take it, he would have to settle for a C-rank gate later, or even worse, train the new recruits in another city. I should at least try to negotiate. It would be a waste to give up so easily. 300 million won per gate was a lot of money. Jinghyu's team usually paid around 100 million for a permit. Asking for 3 times that amount seemed too much. And both sides knew it. He started with a high number because he expected us to negotiate. Sangmin remembered what the president had said in the office. I don't care if it cost 1 or 200 million won. Do whatever it takes. And book a gate. That was like getting the president's permission right there. Everyone on the second administration team heard those words. So he couldn't deny it later. Sangmin took a deep breath and made a counteroffer. 300 million KRW is too much even for us. So how about 200 million deal? Jinwoo held out his hand before Sangmin could finish speaking. Sangmin shook it without thinking. That's it. Yes, 200 million KRW per gate. Please send the money to our account. Everything happened so fast, but Sangmin felt relieved that everything went so well. He lightly shook Jinwoo's hand. Thank you very much. Glad I could help, Jinwoo said with a smile. Now Sangmin could finally relax a little. He not only solved the training issue but also got a bit closer to Jinwoo. After all, deals are about trust. He planned to strengthen their friendship little by little, and soon Jinwoo would support him completely. Jinwoo shouldn't question good fortune. Sangmin felt happy inside. Jinwoo stood up first. I guess I'll catch you later. Oh, and here, he said, He handed Kachul a paper bag with the travel mug inside. Thanks for the smoothie. It was really good. I'm glad you liked it. Kachul replied as he took the bag. His face turned red. Then Jinwoo left the cafe. As soon as Jinwoo was far enough away from Sangmin and Kachul, he called Jinyo. After a few rings, Jinyo's excited voice answered. Boss, the 600 million won arrived. Jinwoo smiled happily. It had been a successful deal. He sold the permits for double what they paid instead of letting them go to waste. It was a big success. Jinyo was surprised. Boss, how did you do it? Who did you sell those C-rank gates to? That's a trade secret. What do you mean? You should get some rest. I'll see you in 2 days. Jinwoo hung up quickly, leaving Jinhyo confused. That night at the office of the second administration team, Kichul hurriedly came over to Sangmin. Sir. Sir, he said. What? Sangmin asked, taking his eyes off the computer. Kichul pointed at his phone. Please take a look. Sangmin looked puzzled. His eyes narrowed as he focused on the screen. It was the Hunters Association official website, a site only hunters could access. Kichul had opened the page that showed gate locations and permit auction prices in real time. What the? Why are there so many unclaimed rank gates in our area? Someone asked, and they're all going for less than 10 million. Sangmin's mind raced. He realized that Jinyo's team didn't reserve a single gate today. Then he remembered what Jinwoo had said. I have time on Thursday. Tomorrow was Thursday. Jinchu's group hadn't been planning to go on a raid from the start. Sangmin had paid too much for the permits without realizing it. Sangmin couldn't help but laugh when he finally figured it out. He had missed the obvious clue until then. It was a mistake, but at least it helped calm down the upset leader. We've been tricked, Manager N. Just then Sangmin got a message. Ding, it was Jinwoo. The message said we're even now. I'll let it go that you spied on me. He's really sneaky, right? Sangmin held back a laugh. If settling things like Jinwoo said meant they were square, then it worked out well for the White Tiger Guild. Because their main goal was to get Jinwoo on board. They didn't think it was a lot of money anyway. Let's think of this as an investment in Jinwoo. They hoped it would pay off for him. Sangmin had a sparkle in his eye as he closed the message. After sending the text, Jinwoo looked around. No one was around. Jinwoo was in the woods. He had picked a quiet hillside where not many people visit for safety reasons. It was 5:44 p.m., so he did not think anyone would be hiking now. He had chosen a spot off the main trail. Should I start? Jinwoo checked his inbox. A message popped up asking if he wanted to accept a job change quest with yes or no options. Jinwoo felt nervous and swallowed hard. Jinwoo felt nervous about what kind of mission he might get, but even more excited. While Jinwoo was searching for the right spot to take the mission on his phone, he also looked up information about changing jobs. New skills, rewards for leveling up, special weapons for each job, quests that only certain roles could do, and so on. This was all stuff from video games, but most people agreed that switching roles had a lot of advantages. And for me, level 40 was when I could finally make the change. Of course, it wasn't all good. Jinwoo saw some concerning posts online. People were asking things like, what if I picked the wrong job? Or if I knew this would happen, I would have chosen a different class. Some even said they were quitting their favorite game because they made a bad choice, and now their life felt boring again. Jinwoo didn't think he had much to worry about though. He mostly used a dagger in the game, and all his skills seemed to match someone sneaky like an assassin. His skills included things related to daggers and stealth. Plus, he put most of his points into strength and agility, so he couldn't see himself being anything but an assassin class. Feeling confident, he pulled out Kasaka's Venom Fang. The dagger felt just right in his hand. This feels perfect for me. He nodded firmly. Jinwoo held his weapon tightly and looked at the message floating in the air. It said, would you like to accept the job change quest? Jinwoo steeled himself for whatever was coming and chose to accept. As soon as he did, more messages appeared with a sound like ping. You have accepted the job change quest. The dungeon for the job change quest will now be generated. The dungeon would be generated. Before Jinwoo could even think about what that meant, something started happening right before his eyes. A small dark hole appeared at his feet. At first it was tiny, like a bean. Then it grew to the size of a coin, then a volleyball, and finally became big enough for someone to walk through. Jinwoo stared in amazement, wondering what this meant. Jinwoo expected a message with details about his quest when he accepted. But this was different. A gate appeared right in front of him. It looked like other gates he had seen, though it was a bit smaller. The system sent another message as if pushing him. Please enter the dungeon through the gate. Jinwoo took a deep breath to calm himself down and nodded. If he thought about it, it made no difference whether he entered a dungeon with a key or through a gate. He was just surprised to see a man-made gate being created. Before this he had only entered gates that already existed. He had never seen one being made. This made him wonder something new. Wait, can other hunters enter this too? There was no way for him to find out.